Welcome back. In the last video, we set up the idea that Wing Chun and Kung Fu more generally can be difficult to understand. I want to move from the broadest causes down to the very specific ones. So today, we'll start with the most general reason. One reason Kung Fu feels confusing today is that historically, it wasn't meant to be completely public knowledge. Traditional Chinese culture placed a high value on privacy, restraint, and controlling who was allowed access to certain kinds of information. Knowledge, especially practical knowledge, wasn't explained openly to strangers. It was earned through relationship and trust and taught gradually, often indirectly. Scholars studying Chinese society describe this through the idea of guanhai, trusted personal relationships through which knowledge and responsibility are shared. A teacher didn't immediately explain everything. Understanding was revealed over time as the relationship justified it. In other words, Kung Fu didn't come from an information culture, it came from a relationship culture. From this perspective, the teacher is not withholding knowledge, but waiting for the student to be ready to receive it. This is where modern viewers run into trouble. Today we may expect a syllabus, a curriculum, a full explanation, and a clear step-by-step sequence. Western learning culture assumes that real knowledge should be openly explainable, but traditional Chinese learning often assumed the opposite, that knowledge which can be instantly explained hasn't yet been fully understood. Because of that, principles were embedded in proverbs, poems, metaphors, and even inside the forms themselves, rather than laid out like a modern instruction manual. The forms function like mnemonic devices, almost like compressed textbooks. Without the teaching relationship, you're watching only part of the communication. So when people watch Kung Fu and feel like something is missing, they're not imagining it. The movement survived, but the explanations were intentionally selective. The art wasn't hidden to be mysterious, it was protected to preserve meaning and responsibility, waiting to be unlocked by the most diligent of practitioners. If you're not diligently practicing both physically and academically, then you're a spectator, and as such, you're witnessing an activity with meaning encoded into the mind-body-spirit system that can only really be unlocked by a relational teaching method. It cannot be understood detached from its relational environment. Kung Fu wasn't designed for spectators or immediate comprehension by them. It was designed for accepted students, those accepted twice, once by the instructor, and again by the Wing Chun system itself. This is not to discount secrecy. In fact, to hear more about that, I'll link a video in the description that breaks down that cultural angle in more detail. But in the next video that we release here, we'll talk about how historical events made secrecy not just cultural, but necessary. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.